Hello, everybody. Welcome to Typeberg. Typeberg is a place for you to learn a lot of typography. You're going to learn a lot of techniques. You're going to master on digital lettering, digital calligraphy. You will see. You will be an addicted to this channel. Yes. Okay. So today we're going to learn how to do this. Let me share the screen. In Illustrator, we're going to learn how to do this amazing calligraphic work that looks so complicated, but it's not complicated at all. You will see. Beautiful and super easy to do. Okay, let's do it. Get ready to master. Ah, ah. Okay, so this is what we have to do. Here you see in the top step by step. And that's what we're going to repeat here. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is typing the words Milky Rind. All right, Illustrator, as you know, you have the toolbox. And also, by the way, the best um, workspace that you need to have, because, workspace is like the environment that you have here when you work. The same thing when you work on a table with pencils, brushes, etc. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do when you open Illustrator is going to the top right. Top right, you see a little icon that looks like a microwave. And then you select Essential Classic because by default you have Essentials. I don't know how Essential exists because it's really, really bad. You don't have anything around. I mean, all these commands and buttons. So select Essential Classic. That's the best. All right. Okay, so this is the toolbox, and in the top, you have the menu, the main menu, right? Okay, so you have to click T as in text to get the text tool, make a bounding box. This is called bounding box. See? And then you type Milky Rind. There you go. Okay, if you hold command, you can click outside to deselect because currently I have the text tool selected. See, here you see the T. Okay, to deselect, most people just go to the toolbox and click on the black arrow. No, that takes the whole life. Instead of that, see, wherever tool you have selected, I repeat, wherever tool you have selected, you hold command down, click outside, and then you deselect. And then V, as in victory, is the black arrow to select it again. See, this is the bounding box. Okay. And then you just click Command Shift C, Command Shift C to align center. Okay. You see this little circle in the bounding box? Is to modify the shape of the bounding box. If you want it narrower or taller, etc. But if you double click here, bling bling, you double click, and then you have it's white. Okay, you can make it large right away, but you need to hold shift to keep the proportion. Remember, doing something like this is a typographic crime, and you go to the typographic hell. All right. Okay. So now we need to have this typeface. We need to look for the font. So the typeface is a design. Font is what you have in the computer. Is what you buy if you don't have this design of the alphabet called typeface. Okay. This is called chap Apple Chancery. Apple Chancery. Okay. So you select here and then see in the top you have character. You can also click Command T, which is the character window, and then you just go here and type Apple Chancery. Okay, here, see? And also 100 points. 100 points. Boom. Right? So we have the same thing of the example that I have in the top. All right. Next step is making this outline. What is outline? Outline is when you transform a letter to a shape. That's kind of complicated to sounds complicated, but it's not. See, when it's a editable letter that you can type, see? Imagine that it's not an N but an M. So you can edit that, right? But it's actually an N. Okay. But we need to transform this to shape. What is that? See, for example, I'm gonna drag it just to show you. Command Shift O, or you go to type, create outline. See? Command Shift O. If you have a PC, it's Control Shift O. O as in Orlando. Okay. See, Command Shift O. Now, what happened? Well, it seems that nothing happened, but actually did. Look at this. You try to edit this, like when we do this here, you can type, etc. But in this one, you can't because it's outline. See, if you click A, which is the white arrow, you can see the um, anchor points. See, anchor points. So you can modify the shape like that if you want. But in this case, we won't do that. All right. So conclusion, also something that I strongly recommend you when you are working, instead of working all the time in the same artboard. See, this is what is called artboard. Shift O, Shift O is the artboard tool here. Okay, so you can continue having more artboards if you want. You click here on plus, but also what I'm recommending you now, is dragging this artboard holding Alt and Shift to make a duplicate. And then you're gonna register all the evolution of your work. Instead of working on a single artboard, all the transformation, no. When you have a radical transformation like this, so transforming this to outline, Command Shift O, see, you create a new artboard. Why? Because just in case you need to go back to the stage when this, imagine that, oh my God, it's not an I, it's an A, for example, you can go back and fix something, right? But if you work all the time in the same artboard, you won't be able to do that. Okay? All right. So you go here, and this is already outlined. Now, gonna show you how to create strokes. These strokes are so easy and so beautiful. This tool in Illustrator is amazing. Okay, so how? First, gonna lock this. Command 2 or Control 2 if you have a PC. Okay, remember, if I say Command, I have a Mac, but when I say Command, for you is Control, right? Okay, Command 2 to lock it. How to unlock this? Command Option 2, like that. By the way, I'm gonna introduce you an imaginary student. His name is Alfred Newman, and he talks like this, and he asks questions that you don't ask. Very helpful. Okay, so Alfred, you can start working with us. All right, so here, Command 2 to lock. But Professor, how could I unlock? That's a great question. Command Option 2. See? Command Option 2. But I have a PC. Okay, if you have a PC, it's Alt. Some keyboards like mine here, you have both Option and Alt in the same key. So it's named both ways. Okay, Command 2 to lock. All right, so now we need to have the calligraphic brush. Normally, by default, see, B is the brush, B. Remember, if you move the cursor on whatever tool in the toolbox, you will see, actually now, the new Illustrator have a micro video that explains you how to use this tool or how this tool work. But also you see in a little square or rectangle, you see the letter, which is the shortcut to get that tool, right? Okay, so in this case, you can see the black arrow is V. The white arrow is A. You use that all the time. B, as in brush, is the brush tool. Okay, by default, you have something, brush with point, the size is 5 point round. That's by default. But see, when you see that little arrow beside on the right of those words, you click there and you have the collection of brushes that you actually have now. Okay, but if you click plus here on the bottom right, you will see by default that you have selected calligraphic brush. That's what you need. Okay, click OK, boom. Okay, and here you will see this dialog box that allows you to modify the shape of the brush that you are creating now. Okay, so you can do that manually in this diagram, or you just go to roundness, in this case, zero roundness. Also, you can modify the angle like this. How much you should modify the angle? Well, depending of sort of like this angle here, see the M, sort of. Okay, we can change that. All right. Before making a stroke, you go and double click on the brush, double click, and then you see fidelity. Fidelity is the amount of anchor points that you will have when you make a stroke. Okay, that stroke could have less or more anchor points. So if you go to the right, smooth, you will have less anchor points. Not the minimum anchor points, but less anchor points. By default, it's in the center, but if you go to the left, you will have more anchor points. Let me demonstrate that. Okay, so you go ahead. By the way, with the right bracket, you make it larger. Left bracket, you make it smaller. Okay, look at this. Make a stroke. Wow, beautiful, right? Okay, but if you double click here and you have the minimum amount of anchor points, see what happened when you make a stroke? You release the stroke, boom, it gets better. See, that's what you need. Okay, so let's delete this. Before starting, let's practice. By the way, to hide the artboard is Command Shift H. All right, so let's practice here like skating on a frozen lake. B and then boom, boom. If you use the space bar to move to the right. Okay, so I want you to practice this like that. See, so cool. Wow. See, you can create super cool calligraphic components. Yeah, see, it gets better too much. So if you want, in this case, you make it less. And then when you make that F, for example, it remains the same. See? Wow. All right. This is a letter from the scratch, but we are modifying existing character from a specific font. Okay, Command Shift H to see the artboard again. All right, so let's place this. It's locked. Okay. Command Option 2 to unlock. All right, so we're gonna place that exactly in the center. Another recommendation, if you have properties, the window properties, I think is the best because actually let's make this isolated. Okay, properties is great because you have swatches, you have the information of the size of the element that you have selected. You can align it, and also you have Pathfinder when you have more. I'm gonna show you what Pathfinder is. Okay, in this case, I want to center this in the artboard. So see, align to artboard, center vertical, and center horizontal. Okay, now you lock it. All right, so now we're gonna start replicating or duplicating this. So let's start with this stroke from the M. All right, B, and then you do something like this. Sorry, I forgot that we need to make it totally smooth. Okay, so we're gonna do something like this. Boom. Okay, you can practice, make it more open, for example. See? So easy. All right. Then from the M, you have this loop. Boom. Okay, like this. A little longer. Boom. See, the good thing is that after having this done, you can modify the strokes. That's what we're going to do later. Okay? Professor, can you repeat that? Yes. No problem. Okay. B, you start from here. Oh, A little longer. Okay. If you have those pens on those screens that you can draw directly, this is even better, right? Of course. But sometimes you can use even your finger if you have a laptop and using a mouse. Okay. Where is the other one? I have a loop like this, no? Okay. I think so, right? Yeah, a little longer. Okay. Then we have one from the Y here, and then stopping on the tittle. Tittle is the dot of the lowercase I or lowercase j. You don't say dot or circle. It's little. Tittle, like little but with T. Tittle. Okay, there you go. Let's go to the tittle like this. Boom. Right? Okay, and then from the L, we have another loop like this. And then from the R, we have another loop to the other tittle, but a little shorter because it's too tall. Okay. And then from the K, we have another like that. See? Super easy. Okay. Well, we can fix a little issue. For example, see, with the white arrow is to select anchor points. See? So I move this one. Also, if you don't need that one, with minus, you click here, boom. And then with the handle, this is called handle, this is called anchor point, right? Okay. There's a video introduction to Illustrator in my channel in the collection of mini tutorials that you can check to get the information or the mastership that you need on the basic tool of Illustrator. For example, here, if you select this stroke and you click A, because first you select it with V, is the move tool or the black arrow, and then with A, you click A, and to see the anchor points. But also you can reduce the amount of anchor points with on existing stroke. For example, you click on the, if you have a mouse, you click on the right click of the mouse to see simplify. See, and then you can move it to the left to have even more. Can you repeat that, Professor? Yes, of course. So again, you click with V, then click A, and then, well, the official place of simplify is object, path, simplify. But that takes the whole life. So instead of that, by the way, sometimes Illustrator has a flaw that you try to do that directly with the black arrow and it doesn't work. Let me try, for example, here, simplify. Okay, in this case, work, but sometimes doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. You select the first with V, the black arrow, then you click A to get the white arrow to see the anchor points, and then you go to simplify. Remember, it's in the right click of the mouse, or if you hold control, also you can see that. See, again, holding control, simplify, and then you can make it less. But when you can make it less anchor points, you can see that some curve or the curve are messed up. See, they should be together like this. Okay, two possibilities. If you have few curve, just move one handle, boom, automatically it gets fixed. But if you have a lot, well, first, in this case, you have to isolate it, double click, and then select all one, two, three, four. Sometimes you select more than four. See, that icon disappear. What icon? Well, this icon here that say convert curve. See, that is to fix mess up curve like that. Okay, see? And then again, when you have less anchor points, it's easier to fix a stroke. And also less anchor points makes better curve, right? Okay, for example, so you can modify that until you feel the click. Okay, So here also the connection. Here you put it together. These little problems, we gotta fix it at the end. Like that. Also, the title has to be landing. The title is being touched by the stroke, but in a sort of tangential way. Let me see. You select this with V first, then you click A, and then go to simplify, and then make it less. See, less. Okay. And remember, the curve are messed up. Well, in this case, I only have two, no problem. Like that. Super easy. Okay, let's see if this is open enough. Yes. Okay, this one here goes like that, and this one here. And again, have too much anchor points, so you select it with V, click A to get the white arrow, then simplify, and make it even less. Okay, that's enough. And then you fix this curve because it was messed up. See, this one too, that one too, and the connection of the Y like that. There you go. Okay, I think I'm ready. This one a little better, like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is making a duplicate because remember, we don't work on a specific artboard. We create an evolution, like a registration of the whole journey. So this is locked, so you have to unlock it. Command Option 2. Okay. Then Shift O is the artboard tool. Artboard tool. Okay. Drag it, holding Option down and Shift to keep the alignment, and then you release the mouse first. Then click Escape. Boom. Right. See, now it's a copy. Okay, but now this is unlocked. We need it unlocked. So what we need to do now is selecting um, everything. So no, not yet, because we're gonna create a duplicate. Okay, so how to create a duplicate? To create a duplicate, we just drag it like this. Okay? Super easy. Okay, in this case, let me check what I have here. Okay. This is blended, but this one, all right. Okay, when I was making this, that was an option without having a duplicate of the stroke. So that's why this is already blended. You can see the whole structure of this with Command Y. See, everything is blended. Command Y again to see the normal. See, let me show you the difference. This one is still a stroke. This stroke have handles that you can modify, right? Okay. To blend these strokes with the letters, we need to transform the strokes to outline. What is that? Yeah, maybe that sounds like super complicated because if you don't have the basic knowledge on Illustrator, you will be kind of lost thinking this is hard. That's why you need to start this series of mini tutorials taking that introduction to Illustrator, right? Don't go directly here because if you don't know Illustrator, you will be lost. Okay, let's pretend that you already passed that exam, that you already know the basic of Illustrator, and you know what I'm talking about. So see, this is a stroke, still a stroke. What I mean by stroke is what I call it a spaghetti. It's an spaghetti because it has strokes that you can modify the shape as if they were spaghettis, like this, see? Okay, but we need to transform this to shape because to blend the strokes and the letters, you only can blend shapes. You cannot blend strokes. So that's why let's lock the letters, Command 2, select all the strokes, and go to Object, Expand Appearance. Boom. See, now let me demonstrate it. A, to see the anchor points. See, now they are shapes. They are not spaghettis anymore. Before they were like this, spaghettis. After they turn to, oh, okay. 1, 2 to lock, select everything, and now object expand, right? Okay. Now we can blend both, but not yet, because as I told you, we need to make a duplicate. If we blend it, we won't be able to do this, all right? Okay, so let's create another artboard, Command, no, Shift O only, Shift O, no Command. Okay, drag it. It's locked, Command Option 2. There you go, and then escape. All right, so now we need to make a duplicate, see, like this. And to do that, the only thing that we need to do is just drag it. Drag it, holding Option down, like this. This one, like that, like this. See, what I'm doing is just holding Option down. All right. Okay, now Shift O, make a duplicate. Well, here I cleaned the overlapping, right? So let's do that. Okay. How to clean the overlapping? For example, I don't want this stroke touching this stroke. So I'm gonna change the color just to make it more understandable what I'm doing, see? So this duplicate, I made it red. I need to delete it here. And to delete, super easy because it's Shift E, the eraser, Shift E. You can make the eraser larger with the right bracket, left bracket, you make it smaller. Okay, the eraser only works when something is selected or whatever is selected. See, that's why I didn't delete the other ones. And that's it. Okay, now you make it black. Selected eyedropper, click here to make it black, or just go to properties and make it black, but it takes longer. See? Okay, so now this is a duplicate, no? Gonna make it red for you just to see what I'm doing. And again, let me see the original. The original have a open space, so not touching. Okay, so Shift E. Remember, eraser only works when something is selected or on something that is selected. So here, I can cut it like that. We can fix that end later. And again, select it with V, the black arrow, V as in victory, and then like that. See here, sort of is similar, right? Okay, this one here, the two strokes stop. Let me see. Okay, it's not the same. All right, no problem. Again, I gonna, these two, actually these two, I gonna stop it right here in the center. Okay, so I select this, Shift E, the eraser, make it smaller. Like that. But no, only this part. Okay. Shift E. Okay, we're gonna fix that later. Later means now. Okay. Minus to delete anchor points. Boom, boom. And then you remake or rebuild this stroke with the handle. Okay, this one is okay. Now, see, when you double click, you isolate something. Now I'm gonna cut it here, Shift E, like that, and like that. Okay. Then I fix this part here, minus, 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 minus. And then with the handle, I rebuild the curve. See? It's a little different to that, but also works. Okay, what else? Okay, well, we can make this one ending there. So like this. All right. Escape. Okay, then you can fix this part here. Minus to delete anchor points. And then with the handle, you rebuild the curve. This one is broken. Okay, here. Well, we can fix that later, but I think it's okay. But anyway, if you want to make it perfect, well, we can do that later. Otherwise, I have to blend it. What else? Here, this duplicate should be like that. Much better. Okay, and here, I can delete this part here, but not to be seen like that. Like that. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? Okay. Okay, this one here, boom, Shift E, and then you delete this part. Okay, see minus, and you delete the anchor points that you don't need. And with the handle, you rebuild the curve. Let me see this one ends there. Okay, so you select this one, minus, and then you delete it here. Shift E. Yeah, I say minus, but no, it's the eraser. R, rotation, you can move it a little like that. So use your sensitivity. But I don't have any calligraphic sensitivity. I am a beginner. Okay, well, you have to practice. That comes with repetition, trying, etc., etc. Okay, here, I think I'm done. Let me see. Ah, here I forgot to add a duplicate here. Let me see. Okay, yes, sort of like that. Uh-huh. Okay, and then delete or the eraser. And here we can fix this one too. Okay, in this case, see, lasso, Q, gonna select all these anchor points. And then, but this one, no, only this. Isolated, lasso, and then A to move the series of anchor points together. So see, this one could be a little lighter or thinner. Thinner. Okay. And that's it. Now you can fix this with A, remember, the white arrow. So this imperfection is going to be even deleted or adjusted after everything is blended. So, right. Okay, and then I'm done. Make a duplicate. Just in case, Command Option 2 to unlock the words. And then, well, let me delete this. Shift O, remember? And then drag it. Boom. Okay, now you select everything. See, the words and the strokes, everything. And then you make a blended Pathfinder here. In the bottom of properties, Pathfinder Unite. Boom. Okay, see, if I make a close up, Command Y, you see that everything is blended. See, like once. It's only one. See, you can see the little imperfection. Command Y to see it back. See, you can delete the little imperfections and then, but also have a lot of anchor points so we can reduce the amount of anchor points. See, then with time, you go and fix these issues. See, sometimes when you move one handle, you move the other one. But if you hold Alt, you avoid that. Also here, sometimes you see what is called widget. Okay, in this case, you don't see it because I have, let me see. Okay, see this little circle is what is called widget. So you can make an angle or angular corner rounded, like I did here. Okay, see, I'm done. And the only thing that I need to do now is to add words like that. Well, in my case, in this new example, it was this part here needs to be open. See, that's what I mean. If you can go back and fix the curve, is you need something more space here, or you can make this stroke a little shorter. See, this stroke you can make it shorter, like this. See, and well, you can fix them, reduce the amount of anchor points with minus, etc. See, now I have a space for the words. But anyway, here you can do it too. So you see eraser, and you can do that. Or actually, you can delete the whole thing. Okay, of course, here we have to fix that. Huh? Always try to make it perfect. See, less anchor points makes better curve. Okay, now we have a space for the text. Alt, arrow right for more tracking. Command Shift period to make it larger. Hold Alt down and arrow right to have less tracking. Ta-da! See? That's it. And then, well, if you want to have that in a mockup, easy. You just select that and make a raster in Photoshop. So you copy that and paste it in Photoshop, and you make this PNG file, Photoshop file, etc. And then you post it in mockup that you can find anywhere, or you can just create your own. Right? Well, that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, practice and practice. Remember, that makes you a master. Okay, bye. Have a good one.